Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today I'm going to be tying for you a pretty generic nymph. It doesn't really have a name. I'm just going to call it a swimming nymph because I'm tying it on these swimming nymph hooks. Ever since I saw these curved hooks, I always wanted to buy some. Even though I'm normally a Timco guy, these hooks are made by Daiichi, and it's called a 1770 nymph hook. But I like to call it a swimming nymph because it's got this really interesting curve. If you've ever thrown a nymph in the water, they do tend to, when they want to swim, they kick around like this a little bit. And I thought, tying one of these would be, giving the fish a little something different to look at. So today I'm going to be tying this. This one's a size 16. It's a pretty generic nymph pattern, to be honest with you. I guess one little oddity that I'm doing is the thread that I'm tying it with, which is in a wine color. It's Uni 80. I guess there's a couple little different unique things I'm doing with it. Like the tail that I'm using is a pheasant tail, but it's dyed olive because I like that color. It just looks really good. I'm gonna cut about, what's that, six or seven or something like that pheasant tail fibers from the hide. And what I've noticed is I like to have a little bit of a upward push of that tail. So I'm not going to continue on down that curve. I'm going to kind of leave it where it's at, that angle where it wants to go out. So I'm going to kind of measure across the body here. Do a couple catching wraps, see where that tail's just a little long. So we'll back up off of it just a little bit. Looks good to me. I'm going to go under, back up. That'll be my third wrap. I'm going to fold those pheasant tail fibers back. Give it a couple little wraps just to lock it in place. Then I'm going to grab some small black wire here, and I'm going to tie it in on the far side of the hook. So far nothing too crazy. And I like to bring the abdomen about down almost to the bottom, pretty much the bottom of that valley. I'm going to start my pheasant tail coming towards me as I wrap forward. When I get to my thread, I'm going to pull those pheasant tails towards the eye and my bobbin towards the hook point, and I'm going to cross over those pheasant tail fibers once. Do the same thing twice, and then do 2 wraps in front just to make sure those ones I just put on the pheasant tail fibers don't pop off. And then I'm going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to take my wire, and since I tied it on the far side, that first wrap goes underneath those pheasant tail fibers and doesn't impact my tail. And now I've counter wrapped those pheasant tail fibers, and that should increase the durability and the strength of this fly greatly. Helicopter that out. I'm going to take a turkey wing here. This is one my buddy gave to me. Just a natural turkey wing. Nothing special about it, really. Now, there's a light side and a dark side to this particular feather, and I'm using it from the dark side to make this wing case. I'm going to kind of use my thumb here to press into the fly a little bit so that as I wrap this thread, that wing will envelop around the body of that fly. Uni does this to me. Even though I love this wine color, this sucker will break. But that's okay. So I'm gonna show you guys when something like that happens. Don't freak out. Just re-spool your thread. Stay calm. I like to grab that end. I'm gonna kind of back it up just a little bit to keep it away from the eye. There we go. Now I'm going to hold it with my index finger and my thumb. I'm going to bring my bobbin back up. And we'll start them both together. And we'll wrap down. And now I've just saved that fly. So it's okay for those things to happen. It's no big deal. Happens to all of us. If you're not breaking your thread, you're not tying tight enough. I mean, you don't want to break it all the time, but every once in a while, every 3 or 4 flies, I'll let you know that you're tying it tight enough. Now what I'm using here is squirrel spiky dubbing, and this is just a brown dubbing. Nothing too crazy here. I want to make like a little bit of a football. Maybe just a little bit more. And remember, it's always easier to put on than it is to take off. Now that I got that football, I'm going to pull my wing case over. Give it a little wiggle so that it will envelop that hook. Catch it in. And I like to fold it back. Start to build myself a little bit of a thread head here. Eventually climb up on top of that turkey. Now it's time to whip finish. I got a couple little ends sticking out here. Just gonna trim those up a little bit. Really, this is for me, not the fish. Come in and cut that turkey off close. Then I'm gonna take a little dubbing brush here and pull out some of that spiky dubbing. If you don't have one of these nice dubbing brushes, you can always use a popsicle stick with some Velcro. Yes, the tools make you look cool, but this one works just fine. And what I like to do after I pull that dubbing out is I like to pull it straight down, because I mean those nymph legs aren't going to be that long. I like to cut it just past that hook point. That way when it flares out, it just looks really good. That one spike is not making me happy. And there you go, the swimming nymph. I really like the look of this thing. I want to see how it catches fish. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch y'all next time.